Good afternoon, everyone. This is Voices from World Citizen. I'm Kararu, host for today. There's a lot of voices since the COVID-19 taken place. Voices are so loud and powerful that yet misleading and confusing people. I have a question. Are those voices really represented us? Us as ordinary people who live in all over the world? Us who have mindset of world citizen? So today I'm here with Lala. In the compound she was working, and Lala, our friend from Indonesia, she's been living in many other countries like Middle East, Singapore, studied in US, and now living and work in Shanghai, China. Let's hear about her story. Hey Lala,
Hi,
how are you today?
good, thank you.
So I heard that. Would you like introduce yourself first?
Sure, my name is Lyla and I'm originally from Indonesia. I've been living in China on and off about 13 years and I run a small brand consulting company here in Shanghai, China.
I
Yeah.
see. So, Lila, as I know that you are fly back forth from China and between China and US during this COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
It must be went through a lot. So, would you like to share your experience?
Sure. I already had a trip plan, a meditation retreat in New York at the end of January. So that coincided with Chinese New Year holiday. And then I guess a week or two before my flight to the US, we start hearing cases from Wuhan and Hubei, and then started to hear a few infection cases here in Shanghai. But I just went on with my plan to fly out at the end of January. And when I arrived in New York at JFK, that was pretty much like a day or two before U.S. closed borders to visitors coming from China.
I see.
Yeah, and then I stayed in the US for about 1.5 months until like everything stabilized in China. But during that time, WHO declared COVID-19 to be pandemic, and then we started hearing cases
Mm-hmm.
in the US. And then I flew back to China just a few days before China closed borders to foreigners.
Wow,
Yeah.
seems like you're always in the borderline.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, yeah.
always
Uh-huh.
yeah, but I got quite lucky.
I see, I see. Now you can see the kids are playing around
Yeah.
already. So what's your do you feel the like cultural difference during this COVID-19 because you've been in both places, right?
Right.
So what do you feel?
Um, yeah, people talk about like China being on lockdown. I don't remember other than Wuhan and Hubei area as China being on a complete lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, it coincided with Chinese New Year, so then there's a lot of shops and restaurants closed anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses were not on operation. But what I really found interesting is a lot of all these different countries, even after WHO declared pandemic, people didn't really take it too seriously. Whereas I think in general in Asia, I guess people have a lot more appreciation for elderly. They take care of their families. So even now in China, people don't really need to wear masks. It's not part of the regulation.
Mm-hmm.
People still are vigilant and then they keep their mask on the street and etc. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I do feel the difference as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you exactly experience? Because I know when you fly back to China, it's already, I guess there's a lot of policy or procedure you need to taking through
Right.
before you enter in, right? So
Yeah.
would you like to share more this part?
Sure.
Yeah.
So then, before I decided to fly back to China, a lot of friends and colleagues already notified me, hey, if you have to prepare yourself mentally because you're gonna be at the airport for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
there is going to be like testing and a lot of coordination, a lot of organization. So then I already had that in mind and decided to come back anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, true enough, you hear friends spending 8 hours, 10 hours at the airport. For me, it was 16 hours from like the moment of
Wow.
landing all the way to like when I arrived in front of my apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, yeah, you get organized at the airport and you get transported to a stadium to take this nucleic acid.
Mm-hmm.
All visitors who come into China had to take this, whether you're a
Test.
Chinese citizen, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're a Chinese citizen or you're a foreigner, you have to take this test just to make sure that when you get released, you're tested negative for COVID-19.
I
Yeah.
see, I see. And what is the main challenge for you? I mean, for the time being that you travel back forth and through all this quarantine procedure, what is the main challenge?
I guess the real main challenge was really to be integrated back to the normal life in Shanghai because even during quarantine, I can see on the outside and then hearing from friends that it's business as usual in China. In front of my apartment building, it's a office building. People already started going back to work, but they still wear their masks. Children playing, like what you just saw just now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been happening for quite some time already in China.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite difficult to kind of get back to this sort of normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see, I see. Is there anything make you feel, uh, appreciation? Yeah, anything make you feel touched or appreciated?
Yeah, I guess I'm very thankful for all the volunteers, all the healthcare personnel, those who work at the hospital during the pandemic, as well as those who really took care of me during the quarantine. They deliver food 3 times a day to my door. On the day 9, I got like during the home quarantine, I got a call from the CDC. They found a confirmed case on my flight, so then I had to be transported to a government facility quarantine in this hotel, and then I finished my quarantine in this hotel. And then they deliver food and they disinfect the hallway, and there's nurses who check on our well-being like twice a day. So those are all the unsung heroes that you don't really see necessarily because they're all in a complete hazmat suit.
I
Yeah,
see,
so I
I see.
appreciate that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I actually really appreciate your sharing because there's a lot of voices might see views more like in a negative way rather than in a positive way, and but it's actually I think it's a represent of who you are because the world is not what you see. The world is actually who you are. So
Yeah.
you are the positive person. So that's why you see the positive point. I think.
Of course, like during this time,
Mm-hmm.
you see headlines on news.
Yeah.
Everything is really grim and sad.
Yeah.
But I guess what I appreciate the most is really the kindness, and you see the best of humanity during this time.
Mm-hmm.
People helping each other, people raising funds for those unemployed and those at you know. Disadvantage during this time
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people are out of work. They have families, children, elderlies. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you see a lot of that just among you, right?
Mm-hmm. And the
Yeah.
last question. Do you know how to say crisis in Chinese?
No.
So crisis in Chinese pronounced as 危机. So it's made up from two words. One is 危 means danger, and another one is 机 means opportunity. So it's more like a crisis is come together with the positive and negative, the danger and opportunity.
Right.
So I think Lyla reminds me to for these words that if you're positive enough, no matter what we've been going through, you can actually dig out the opportunity behind and overcome those difficulties. Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice to having you with us.
Thank you.
And there's also another question for you.
Yeah.
It's actually also why we do this series of interview. What do you think about world citizen?
Good question. I guess, I mean, having lived in a lot of different countries and experiencing different cultures, I would consider myself to be a world citizen. And I don't really subscribe to this idea of nation. Of course, you appreciate and respect the root where you come from, but the more you travel the world and experience different culture, learning different languages, and being friends with different people from all over the world, you start understanding that you know very little, and you, no matter how much you travel the world, you will only know very very little bit of different places and different culture, and that's very humbling because you start to understand that you have a lot of limitation as a human being. Yeah.
So well said, really, very well said. Yeah, so as world citizen, we strive to encourage people to learn different language, to have different living experience in different countries, and always learn and respect each other's culture, and focus on those differences, but not allowing those differences to lead to hatred or racism. Um, I think Lala's word about humbling is really a key point. I think being humble, is the way we open ourselves.
Yeah.
We strive to learn, and that make our world bigger rather than make the world smaller. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's this also I want to share like an old saying in my language, in Indonesian language. It's tak kenal maka tak sayang. You don't know, that's why you don't love. So if you know and if you try to understand, then you can actually love other culture and other people, or like anything that you get to know.
Wow. Can you say it again?
Tak kenal maka tak sayang.
Tak kenal maka tak sayang.
Yeah.
You don't love if you don't know.
Exactly.